All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Wine, Women, and Crypto. And before I get started, I just wanted to give a shout out to the McBride sisters. This is one of my favorite wines from the McBride sisters. It's called Black Girl Magic, but it's the Riesling because I like sweet stuff. And so this is absolutely incredible. What I did a couple of months ago, just to be in support of the things that we talk about, which is supporting our businesses, I actually got in their wine club. So every single month, I get 6 bottles, not donated, but I get 6 bottles that come to the business, and I'm excited to be able to support them. And but I don't even drink that much wine, but I want to support. And because I do have Wine Women in Crypto, it will come in. We'll be able to use it in the next years to come. So I'm excited about that. So if you haven't tasted the McBride Sisters brand, please run out, pick it up. I understand that it's in almost every store. They're doing an incredible job, and they really have an interesting story. So please check them out. Again, the McBride Sisters with Black Girl Magic. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I have an incredible guest today. And I'm not saying it because she's sitting here looking at me, just because I have followed her in the space and I have paid attention. I've listened, I've watched. She is incredible. She does so many things. And it is really, really a pleasure to be able to not only be on stage with her, but be on film with her, but just really be able to pick her brain and help other women who are following in her footsteps, such as I did, really understand what this space has to offer and how we can integrate some of these things into our everyday lives. And with that, we have the fabulous Tonya Evans. And
Thank you
Tonya,
so much. I appreciate you so much. You have
yes,
me? Oh, there we go. Yes. Thank you so much. I've wanted to do this a long time. And so anything that has to do with you and wine and crypto, we cannot lose. So we're right where we're supposed to be right now.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I totally agree. So, Tanya, I mean, you have so many accolades, and I didn't want to go through them all because what we are hoping is that you can tell us a little bit about each one of them, because right now it is so critical and so crucial that we see people in the space that look like us, but not only see people that are excelling and succeeding. Because what we're trying to get our women to do and our community to do specifically is to go from surviving to thriving. And you are the epitome of thriving in this space. And so what we want to do is just first tell us a little bit about you, who you are. Just tell us a little bit about you.
I was basically born and raised in Philadelphia. I'm an aging jock, so I spent a lot of time on basketball courts and tennis courts, and received a scholarship actually to play at Northwestern on full scholarship for tennis in my former life. It seems like a million years away, and I played tennis professionally for 4 years before I even went to law school. So I feel like I've had, I might have been a cat for 9 lives, but I feel like a lot of that informed my ability to take chances and take risks, and to always bet on myself as long as I was intellectually curious. Went to law school after that to Howard University School of Law, HU,
All
you
right.
know. And after I graduated from law school, I spent a few years in big law. So I was at a couple of international firms. Interestingly, I started out in the trust and estates department. I've always dealt with some aspect of property law. Now I'm an intellectual property lawyer, focused on technology and crypto and blockchain, and we'll get to all of that. But when I think about the arc of my career, been I've been an attorney for 25 years. I've been in academia for 15 years. I'm a tenured professor at Penn State Dickinson Law School. And I look back over the arc of my career, and each one of those steps prepared me for what I'm doing now, even though I had no idea that this would exist, what this was. I came to the space being very skeptical. I'm sure a lot of people do. I'm actually highly risk adverse, but nobody can tell it given what I do right now. That's kind of my winding path to academia and to law. And I do not have a technology background, but I've always been that person who was an early adopter of things. Back in the day, I was the first person to get to the arcade when you actually had to go to the arcade, and the last one to leave, first one to have a big giant phone on my shoulder, first one to have Atari and CompuServe and all those things back in the day. And so I've always been intellectually curious about technology without having a traditional science background.
Well, that is incredible. And I think that that is worthy of repeating because
Mm.
I hear so many times people say, well, I don't have a tech background. Well, Miss Tonya does not have a tech background, and neither does Najah Roberts. And so I want to make sure that women are understanding that as well as we move forward to even understand just some of the other intricacies of this space. So kind of fast forward. So you have a law degree, and I did
Yes.
see. So we're really excited about that. And I was looking through a lot of the different publications, and I was like, why doesn't it say Tanya Evans Esquire? And so I have always aspired to be an attorney. In fact, I got my bachelor's from Bethune-Cookman College in
Mm.
criminal justice administration, and I thought that's where I was going to spend my life defending folks. And it just didn't turn out that way. And so, but I definitely want to say and bring out the point that you do have a law degree, which I figured as much when I read that you were over the Dickinson's law facility and all these other things. And so we definitely give you accolades for that. Give you accolades
Thank
for
you.
that. So tell us a little bit about how someone without a tech degree, and you said that you're very inquisitive about technology and those sorts of things, very risk adverse, but we can't
Very.
tell them how, who or what was the epiphany when you said, I really need to take a serious look at this thing?
It was back in 2017. A friend of mine was in graduate school and she was involved in some type of, she kept calling and saying she was involved in this working group. You'll remember back around this time when people were saying blockchain, not Bitcoin. It was this whole thing, like end of 2017. And her particular working group was strategizing around the use cases in media. I'm not in media, but this was her thing. And so I had heard about Bitcoin in particular. I didn't know where it was, what it was, sounded like magic money, didn't want anything to do with it in particular. But the more I started learning about, I knew about other Web3 technology. So artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, augmented reality, virtual reality. And given that I'm an academic, I'm a professor dealing with technology law, I needed to understand the intersection of blockchain technology and intellectual property. And in fact, in 2018, I wrote a law review article titled CryptoKitties, Cryptography and Copyright. And
Ooh.
that is when I fell headfirst. Now, I was evidently ahead of my time in terms of academia.
Yes.
Lawyers, a tough group, and add on top of it, professor, and it was insane. It
Yeah.
was, they didn't get it. They didn't want to get it. We have a critical mind as lawyers anyway. But once I started to truly understand digital ledger technology and understanding at least the potential, it's not going to be, it's not a panacea. It's not, my friend Samson Williams says it's not hot sauce. You can't put it on everything, right? But in the space where you actually can use a decentralized form, not only of governance, but also of record keeping, that had powerful implications. And so I thought I would do a disservice to my students if I didn't fully appreciate and understand it, not focused initially on crypto, but then in order to really understand the first use case, which is
Yeah.
crypto. And,
Yes.
I had my own rabbit hole experience. Every time I found something I didn't know, I looked it up. And it led to 10 other things I didn't know, but I looked it up. We're in the information age, and it's an embarrassment of riches. I went to YouTube University, and then I woke up one day and I knew a little bit more than most people who did what I do. And I started to expertise myself in the space, really doubling down on the future of wealth and the future of work. because kind of like mid-career, it's like, what's next? And I found my way to what's next.
Yes, yes, you did. So you have this um, Advantage Evans Academy, which is absolutely awesome. You
Mhm.
have coined the phrase from cash to crypto. And
Mhm.
I want to tell you that when I first saw some of the things that you were doing, and I don't have a law background like that. I tell you, I studied criminal justice administration. I started seeing everything that you were doing, you were trademarking.
That's right.
And I will let you know that I started following suit. And
Excellent.
yes, I started following suit because I was like, there has to be, and I've been in business for a long time, but I've never been in a space where everybody um, borrows your,
You're so
intellectual
polite, so polite.
property
Call it
that
what
way.
it is.
They borrow your intellectual property. And so when I saw some of the things you were doing, I said, it must be really, really important that I start trademarking. And I started early on. Unfortunately, it costs a lot to do a lot of different trademarks. So you kind of got to
Right.
pick and choose the different classes and things like that. But I did want to just give you accolades because you were one of the first folks that I saw where I was like, I better start trademarking because if she's doing it, there's a reason behind it. So, but you have the Advantage Evans Academy. So, can you tell us a little bit about that first?
So I wanted to find a way to, outside of law school, everybody's not going to go to law school, but if I was going to be intentional about empowering women in general, Black women in particular, women of color, I had to find another outlet to do that, to leverage a lot of the information I was already putting together at the law school level and figure out a way to distill it into a meaningful way to demystify it for people. It's already
Yeah.
like so scary, that it's too jargony, it's too heavy. What could I do with what I've already learned to do the heavy lift so that, I can help make it, I say all the time in my classes, let me make it all make sense, right? I've done the heavy lifting so you don't have to. I made all the mistakes, and we can talk about those as well. So I want to be really transparent because I really want people to have confidence in themselves. And in order to do that, to see what we're doing and to create a platform that has something for everybody, from free master classes, mini courses that people can earn digital badges they complete, and then they'll get like a creditable digital badge. They can do a full suite, and just it's a modular experience. Some things are one-on-ones with me, some are short courses, all the way up to someone paying at a premium for my one-on-one time for 6 months. So just starting people to literally go from cash to crypto and give them the tools early on. And you do this work too, to figure out how do they get started. And then I developed a suite that said, all right, you have a little crypto, now what? And so Decode the Future comes after from cash to crypto. Once people are in, maybe you bought some on Cash App or wherever, and now you're like, okay, I have it. I still don't know what it is or what to do with it. My role and we could talk about this as well, as the chairwoman of the Maker DAO's Maker Foundation, was a
Yeah.
major way to, really fall headfirst into decentralized finance, to understand the build on top of the MakerDAO protocol, to understand governance and issuance of tokens and the like. All of that I want to share, and I want to do it outside the confines of academia, because consider I consider my day job me being out on loan. I'm the
Mhm.
CEO of me. I am on loan. I happen to get some W-2 income until I don't. Crypto has created a lifestyle for me where I do everything I want to and nothing I don't. And so the power that comes from that means to build our own and to make sure we have it regardless of where we are.
Speak, sister, speak. If I could look down, I would tweet that from Tonya. That is a great quote. And I'm going to go back and tweet that and make sure that we note that you are the one that said it. So, some of our listeners are new, and
Mm-hmm.
you said something about Maker DAO. Can you
Mm-hmm.
explain to our audience what that is? And is this something new? Is this something like what is Maker DAO?
The MakerDAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. That's going to sound very jargony as well. But essentially, if you think of a corporation or a business, that instead of having a top-down structure where you have a president and vice presidents and you have kind of a pyramid of building, there is a way where anybody who is participating in a particular network of computers or for a particular project or for a particular purpose actually has some say in the governance, meaning the rules of how this organization is going to be run. And it's not one person in one country or government. It's decentralized in the same way that we think about traditional cryptocurrencies. The interesting thing in the decentralized finance space is, and this is one of the most, I'm so passionate about this, I'm trying to just be calm, but I feel like DeFi in particular is more, DeFi in particular, and this, it'll take some time if you are completely new to get through the jargon, but a way that you can participate in lending, you can participate in banking without having the limitations and the systemic discrimination that is hardwired into the banking system. I just bought my mom a house 2 days ago. We went to settlement, and it was that is probably the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. And it's because of all of these things.
Let's give you some snaps for that. That is incredible, sister.
Thank you. But I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book, Najah, about all of the things that go wrong in traditional finance. I have excellent credit. I have no debt, no children. I've been in business for 25 years in a very stable environment. And what I went through with the first bank, before I walked away from the table, I said, I will do this deal all cash before I deal with you. And I left. And all the information that they wanted, the terms that were not favorable, I know it is because I am a Black woman, full stop. There's no other explanation for it. So I share that to say, so imagine a world where I could give myself a loan, where I could have Bitcoin or other coins, and I could lock them up and actually extract value from them. I could be paid. So for the MakerDAO, there's the stable coin attached to lending and other things that you can do with the DAO. I can pull out DAI, which is a stable coin that is equivalent to $1. I can do whatever I want to that, and then I'm paying myself back. Could be with interest. Instead of having to go to the bank, tell my whole life story, give away my third born, a pint of blood, right? Everything that they want. And then at the end of the day, they could still tell you no for no reason. We have been held back too long. And the process of building generational wealth requires that we do not wait or sit on the sidelines anymore. And so platforms, final point, in the decentralized finance space, MakerDAO was the first. There were others, Compound, Aave. There's some really great decentralized finance protocols where you can lend and earn interest and all sorts of other really cool things to do an end run around traditional finance. It's the new finance, and we need to be about the business of really figuring it out.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing how that ties into the struggle in our community, because that is the most important thing, that we figure out or identify the issues and figure out that now we finally have some solutions, because before we didn't really have a lot of options, but we have some options. And just to tell you how early we are with what she's trying to teach you, the DAOs, Wyoming just made DAOs a legal type of corporation. So the state of Wyoming, you can now go to their site and start a DAO, which I've done already, and super excited about just diving into that space. And so I am just so proud of you. I don't even know I mean, there's so many things that you're doing that is just incredible, but that is making a huge statement, and we really appreciate it. And you know what? One of the things in this space that we need to know as women, as African-American women, as just women in general, that we're going to have to step out and do things that no one else has done before, because we're so early in this space and in this time. And if we don't, then who will? You know, we've got to get the courage to step out. And so you've done that. And so I appreciate that. And you've also wrote a guide on NFT law for creatives and collectors. And I really want to kind of dibble and dabble really quickly into that, to just, if there's a couple of things that you can say to the women about that, if they're getting into NFTs.
So you mentioned earlier, I didn't want to lose the point about you going through the process of trademarking. And I wanted to connect the dots here in order to talk about NFTs when we're talking about digital ownership. It's so critically important. Intellectual property property that's created with the mind. You can exert exclusive ownership and control. There are several different types: patent, trademark, copyright. I talk about all of those things in the NFT law guide for creators and collectors. And that's both a free masterclass. I have a course, and I'm developing a book around it as well. But the idea of digital ownership is critical. So many people are involved in cryptocurrencies, and that's critically important. And in order to purchase an NFT, you have to purchase some form of crypto, generally speaking, in order to receive one, unless you're receiving a gift. But a non-fungible token is unique. It's a unique form of property, and it's uniquely identified and connected to a token. It's represented in token form. So the token isn't the creativity. There's a creative file. Usually it's a digital file. Sometimes people are making physical art and connecting ownership to it, the ability to exercise ownership and control. So what does that mean? I compare it to the deed to a house. The deed is not the house, but my ability to exercise ownership and control over the house, my ability to claim insurance, my ability to leverage that asset to pull out equity, for example, is all around my ability to demonstrate that I have the highest and best interest in that. I have title to it.
Yes.
That's now can be represented digitally with a non-fungible token. Fungible mean, let me take a step back and even say what fungibility is. When we talk about fungibility, in order to get to non-fungible, fungible means interchangeable. $1 for another dollar, even though each technically has its own serial number. If you give me $1, I give you $1. I don't care which one it is. But if you go down a block that has homes and they all look exactly the same, each parcel of land is unique. And you might think about that in the same way for a non-fungible token. The problem with physical land or physical ownership is sometimes it could be difficult to tell who the owner is. Everything's in paper, or even if it's in digital form, it can be deleted. Someone could hack it and have access to it. They can change it or alter it. It could be fraudulent. You avoid all of that for the most part in the digital space, not just digital, but in the cryptographically secured space, which means you are not going to have a double spend. That means that you can always record on a blockchain the time that something exists and who the owner is. Not necessarily me as Tonya Evans, but at least my public address that uniquely connects me to it. And so I'm as excited about the non-fungible space as I am about the cryptocurrency space, because in the same way that blockchain has decentralized finance on the crypto side, is the way that we can disintermediate art as well, right? All the galleries that won't let us in, all of the auction houses that devalue our work now on a peer-to-peer basis.
Yes.
We can scale our coins and our ownership. That's a game changer, particularly for marginalized communities.
Yes, and I appreciate you. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, this fabulous speaker, Miss Tonya Evans, agreed to do this with us today, with us knowing that she only had 30 minutes today because she had prior engagements, and we're going to respect that. But I am going to beg her to come back for part two so that we can finish this conversation. I was just so excited. I was like, if we can only get her 5 minutes, let's just have her on. It's incredible. But we're going to respect your time, and we have reached the 6:31 mark, well, which is 9:31 for those of you that are on the East Coast. And we want to make sure that we are able to have her back because we've respected her time frame. And so today, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say to Miss Tonya Evans, thank you for joining Wine, Women, and Crypto. If there was one thing, one little last thing you could say before you get off, what would it be to the women and the brave men who dare to deal with us today?
I want you to be encouraged. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and the only thing that you can control are the controllables in your life. There has to be a fundamental mind shift in order to truly appreciate how to build and establish wealth in one generation to ensure that it's there for generations to come. That requires a fundamental shift to not just focus on a high high income and a good government job and some life estate. Some life insurance. That's how many of us were raised to choose safe over soul. But I know for me, I'll speak personally, my soul cried out to ensure that I am well cared for, well taken care of, and that I'm creating things for the next generation to come. That requires we are about the business of our own self-sovereignty. We cannot rely on other people to do it for us. This is the time, and this is the technology that can get us there. So learn something and do something every day. I Final point is just to learn while you earn. I say that at Advantage Evans. Don't try to figure all of this out. No one knows everything about this space. Find what's relevant to you. Get in. Don't try and time the market. It's time in the market, not timing the market. Start today, and you'll look back over on this time and know that you made the difference and you changed the trajectory of your family's life.
Well, thank you for that. That is definitely words of wisdom. And you all can find Tonya Evans. You can find her on social media. Please reach out, look for her. She has the Advantage Evans Academy, as well as she has a podcast called Tech Intersect. So please reach out, talk to the sister. And Miss Tonya, I pray that this is not the last time that we meet. And I would love to have a little more in-depth conversation with you. And we're going to sign off because we know you've got to go today, but we appreciate you and all that you do, the pilgrim that you have been to just pave the way for those of us that are coming behind you to educate in our communities. And so thank you very much for all you do.
I appreciate you. It's the first, but not the last.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you. And you have an incredible rest of your evening.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are on Clubhouse, we know Tonya had to go, but what I'd like to do, because we still do have a small group here that was listening in as Tonya Evans talked to us today, if you all would get off this classroom, go down the hallway and support Justin as he reads. I believe he's reading right now his book called Bars to Bitcoin. I would like for us all to just get off and support the brother. So let's get off. Let's go down the hallway. Uh, Continue to drink your wine, enjoy. And I want to just personally thank each and every one of you for joining Wine, Women, and Crypto. And again, we have this every single month on the first Thursday of every month. And I am looking forward to seeing you again. We have incredible guests. We have incredible wine, the McBride Sisters Collection, and we are expecting great results in our life as women, as leaders of our community, and as leaders of our family and decision makers. And it is well documented that we are all of the above. So with that, ladies, I would like to bid you farewell. And for those of you brave men who are with us today, I want to say thank you to you as well. Have an incredible rest of your day. Enjoy your holiday weekend that's coming up. But let's go see Justin as he reads his new addition to his new book, Bars to Bitcoin. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.